Lieutenant Commander Maya Reeves stared at the holographic readout hovering above her hospital bed, its alien symbols pulsing with an unsettling blue glow. The Acrylian doctor, a towering insectoid with compound eyes that reflected her own image back at her in disturbing multiplicity, clicked its mandibles together in what she'd learned was their species' version of solemn concern. The quantum cellular degradation is advancing at an unprecedented rate, Dr. Zorik said, his translator device rendering his chittering into flat, clinical English. The battle radiation you absorbed when your ship's shields failed has triggered a cascading breakdown of your cellular cohesion. I've never seen this particular reaction in a human before. Maya tried to sit up, wincing as pain lanced through her abdomen. So what's the treatment plan? Surgery? Some kind of radiation therapy? The six-limbed medical team exchanged glances, a universal gesture of bad news across the galaxy. She noted. Commander Reeves, Doctor. Zorix continued, the Galactic Health Administration protocols are quite clear in cases like yours. Terminal comfort care is recommended. The statistical survival probability is approximately 2.037%, which falls well below the GA threshold for treatment authorization. Maya blinked. You're saying I should just die comfortably? I am authorized to provide premium hospice services. The GA facility on Rigel Prime has excellent end-of-life amenities. Any species consider it an honor to conclude their existence there. Maya's laugh startled the medical team, causing one of the junior doctors to emit a high-pitched whistle of alarm. 2%? She grinned through the pain. That's practically a guarantee where I come from. I don't understand, Dr. Zorik said, compound eyes glittering in confusion. Our statistical analysis is quite precise. A 97.963% probability of mortality. Is still not 100%, Maya interrupted. And I only need that 2%. She pulled the monitoring devices from her arms, setting off a cacophony of alarms. The medical staff rushed forward, but Maya held up a hand. On Earth, we have a long history of people beating the odds. Our medicine advanced precisely because we refused to accept statistical certainties. But this is highly irregular, Dr. Zorix protested. The GA protocols clearly state. I'm declining your hospice care, Maya said firmly. I want treatment. Experimental, conventional, I don't care. Something that fights this thing. The doctor's mandibles clicked rapidly, the Acrylian equivalent of an exasperated sigh. The treatment authorization board will never approve it. The resource allocation algorithms. Then I'll find someone who doesn't give a damn about your algorithms, Maya said, swinging her legs over the side of the bed. The room spun violently, but she gritted her teeth through the vertigo. Where are my clothes? This is most unprecedented, Doctor, Zorik said. I must insist you reconsider. The pain in the final stages will be substantial. Maya stood on shaky legs, her determination momentarily stronger than her failing body. Doctor, with all due respect to your medical expertise, there's one crucial factor your fancy alien probability calculations haven't accounted for. And what would that be, Commander? Maya's smile was fierce as she steadied herself against the bed. I'm human, and we have a really annoying habit of surviving things we shouldn't. As she took her first defiant step, she activated her neural implant with a thought. A familiar voice responded instantly in her mind. Dave, I need an escape plan. I calculated a 98.2% probability that you would do something inadvisable, Commander, the AI's dry voice replied in her head. Shall I prepare the usual contingencies for your impulsive behavior? Maya smiled through the pain. 2% odds? She'd faced worse on Tuesday training exercises. The galaxy's about to learn a hard lesson about statistical probabilities, Dave. Let's rewrite their math. This is unquestionably your worst idea yet, Commander. Dave's voice emanated from Maya's neural implant as she crawled through the maintenance shaft. And I've cataloged 2,347 previous bad ideas. Save the commentary, Maya hissed, pausing to stifle a cough. The quantum degradation felt like fire ants crawling through her bloodstream. Where's the security patrol now? 3 Vex Yulion guards approaching Junction 7B. Given your compromised physical state and their superior sensory capabilities, I calculate your chance of avoiding detection at approximately. If you give me another depressing percentage, I swear I'll have your code rewritten as a vending machine interface. A brief pause. They will arrive in 45 seconds. Maya smirked. That's better. The Acrylian medical facility sprawled across 16 levels of the massive space station orbiting Proxima Centauri. Maya had been transferred here after the Battle of Barnard's Star, where her ship the UA's Indomitable had engaged 3 Kralvor raiders threatening an Earth colony transport. The Indomitable had prevailed, but not before taking heavy damage and exposing Maya to the exotic radiation that was now slowly unraveling her at the cellular level. The experimental pharmaceuticals lab is 20 meters ahead, Dave informed her. Security protocols include biometric scanners, motion detectors, and quantum encryption locks. Maya reached a junction and peered down at the laboratory entrance. 2 guards stood watch-tall, humanoid figures with the characteristic blue skin of the Vexulian species. The GA employed them specifically for their heightened sensory perception and unwavering adherence to regulations. "Can you spoof the security systems?" she whispered. "I've already initiated a subsystem cascade failure in their network," Dave replied. "However, I cannot bypass the biometric requirements. You'll need Dr. Zorix's genetic signature." Maya pulled a small vial from her pocket, a swab she'd managed to collect from the doctor's workstation before sneaking out of her room. "Got it covered. I'm consistently disturbed by your foresight when it comes to breaking rules, Commander." The lights in the corridor suddenly dimmed, then flashed red as alarms began to wail. "What was that?" Maya demanded. "A complication. Your absence has been noted. The facility is initiating lockdown procedures." Maya swore under her breath. "Timeline? Full lockdown in 90 seconds. After that, even I won't be able to override their quantum encryption." She grimaced and began moving faster, ignoring the burning pain spreading through her chest. Reaching the access panel above the laboratory, she carefully removed the cover and prepared to drop down. "The guards are being called to the East Wing," Dave informed her. "A fortuitous distraction." "Did you arrange that?" "I may have triggered environmental control failures in the xenobiology containment area. Several specimens of Virgilian slime mold are now expanding at an alarming rate." Maya grinned. "I knew there was a reason I kept you around." She slipped down into the laboratory as the guards hurried away, their heavy footsteps receding. Using the genetic sample on the security scanner, she gained access to the pharmacy storage unit. "I need the QRD-17 prototype," she said, scanning the shelves of exotic medications. Dr. Zorix mentioned it in his notes. Second cabinet from the right, third shelf. The small blue container. "But Commander, I must point out that this experimental compound has only been tested on non-human subjects, with highly variable results." Maya found the container and slipped it into her pocket. Variable beats certain death. A philosophical position the GA Ethics Committee would vigorously debate. Let them debate while I'm still breathing. She moved toward the exit, then stumbled as a wave of pain sent her to her knees. "Your condition is deteriorating more rapidly than anticipated," Dave observed. "We need to proceed to Phase 2 immediately." Maya struggled to her feet. "Transportation? I've identified a maintenance shuttle in Bay 12 with minimal security. However, Commander Vrex has just arrived at the station." Maya froze. "The GA's enforcement chief? His vessel docked 17 minutes ago. Given his reputation for thoroughness and his particular interest in resource allocation violations, I suspect your case has attracted high-level attention." She leaned against the wall, fighting for breath. "Nothing like being popular. 45 seconds until the lockdown completes." Maya straightened, determination replacing pain in her expression. "Then let's not overstay our welcome." She sprinted for the maintenance tunnel, adrenaline temporarily overriding her body's failures. The alarms grew louder as the facility's AI announced security protocols with mechanical precision. 3 corridors and 2 security checkpoints later, both bypassed with Dave's increasingly creative system manipulations, Maya reached the shuttle bay. The small maintenance craft sat unattended, its systems in standby mode. "Dave, get this thing fired up. Accessing shuttle systems now." "I should note that stealing GA property carries a minimum sentence of." "Just fly the damn thing." The shuttle's engines hummed to life as Maya sealed the hatch behind her. Through the viewport, she could see a squad of security personnel rushing into the bay, led by a tall, severe-looking figure with metallic gray skin and eyes that glowed with amber light. Commander Reeves himself. He appears to be attempting to communicate with you, Dave noted as Rex pointed insistently at her, mouth moving in what looked like carefully controlled outrage. Maya gave him a mock salute as the shuttle lifted off. Tell him I deeply regret missing our appointment, but I had a prior engagement with beating the odds. The shuttle shot through the bay's force field and into open space, acceleration pushing Maya back into the pilot's seat. Course laid in for the Omega Nebula, Dave confirmed. Pursuit ships are launching. Estimated interception in 7 minutes. Maya injected herself with a stabilizing compound she'd also stolen from the lab, feeling momentary relief as the burning pain subsided to a dull roar. Dr. Krill's last known location? The mining colony on Helios 9. A lawless outpost beyond God jurisdiction, most unsuitable for someone in your condition. Perfect. Maya grinned, watching the space station shrink behind them, set course, and prepare for evasive maneuvers. Let's see how committed Commander Reeves is to his precious regulations. The shuttle accelerated toward the system's edge, leaving behind the pulsing lights of pursuit vessels that were already falling behind. You realize, Dave said, that the probability of successfully reaching Dr. Krill, convincing him to treat you with experimental methods, and surviving both the journey and the treatment is. Dave, yes, Commander, shut up and fly. Helios 9 defied every health and safety regulation in the galaxy. The mining colony carved into a massive asteroid at the edge of the Omega Nebula thrived in the shadows cast by the Galactic Commonwealth's laws. Noxious vapors hung in the air of its crowded marketplace, where species from 100 worlds haggled over everything from stolen technology to contraband genetics. For Maya, now barely able to stand without support, it was perfect. His lab should be down this corridor, she wheezed, leaning heavily against the grimy wall. The QRD-17 compound had slowed her cellular degradation, but the effect was wearing off. Dark veins now traced patterns across her skin, mapping the disease's progress. Undetecting multiple life forms ahead, Dave informed her through the neural link, including several species banned from medical practice under G Article 27. That's practically a recommendation. The door at the end of the hall bore no marking, except a symbol etched into the metal, a double helix wrapped around a question mark. Maya pressed her palm against it. State your ailment and ability to pay, demanded a disembodied voice. Maya straightened as best she could. Quantum cellular degradation. And I brought something better than money. A scanner beam swept over her. The door remained closed. Terminal case, the voice stated flatly. Treatment probability below acceptable parameters. Seek end-of-life services elsewhere. Tell Dr. Krill that I have complete archives of Earth's reality television, Maya countered, including all 73 seasons of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. A long silence followed, then the door slid open with a reluctant hiss. The laboratory beyond was a chaotic blend of cutting-edge technology and jury-rigged equipment. Specimen containers lined the walls, some containing pulsing organic matter that followed Maya's movement as she entered. At the center stood a spindly figure with pale blue skin stretched over an elongated frame. 4 arms worked simultaneously at different stations, while enormous black eyes remained fixed on a holographic display. Human, Dr. Krill said, his voice a melodic whisper. You bring your fascinating mortality into my laboratory. How delightful. Maya stepped forward. I was told you're the best. I was. Until the Galactic Medical Board objected to my methods. One of his hands waved dismissively. They called me reckless. Unethical, all because I refused to accept the mathematical certainties of death. That's why I'm here. Maya produced the vial of QRD-17. This is slowing the degradation, but not stopping it. Dr. Krill plucked the vial from her hand with surprising speed. Ah, Zorix's work. Competent, but unimaginative. He examined the liquid. He never considers the quantum entanglement possibilities. Can you help me or not? Krill circled her slowly, his movements fluid and unsettling. The question, Commander Reeves, is not whether I can help you, but whether you can endure my help. Try me. The alien's mouth stretched into what might have been a smile. "Your god doctors. They gave you what probability of survival?" 2%. Krill made a sound like wind chimes in a storm, his species' version of laughter. "And yet here you stand, defying their careful calculations. How very human." He gestured to a complex medical pod in the corner. "My treatment will cause pain beyond your comprehension. Your cells must be unbound from conventional physics before they can be realigned. Few minds can withstand the process." Maya walked to the pod without hesitation. "Will it work? Perhaps. It has succeeded precisely once before. Better odds than I started with." She climbed into the pod. "And the reality TV?" Krill's eyes gleamed. "I find your species' willingness to document your own absurdity enlightening." "The storage device?" Maya nodded toward her pocket. "Dave has the access codes. He'll transfer everything once we begin." "Commander," Dave's voice sounded in her head, "I feel obligated to point out that Dr. Krill was expelled from the medical board for experimental procedures that resulted in 17 fatalities and 32 cases of irreversible mutation. Did anyone survive who wouldn't have otherwise?" Maya subvocalized as Krill prepared his equipment. "One individual. A Centaurian diplomat given hours to live who subsequently survived for 27 years. Then those are the only statistics that matter right now." The pod sealed around her with a pneumatic hiss. Dr. Krill's voice came through speakers inside the chamber. "Phase 1 begins now. Your AI is transferring the entertainment files. A fascinating collection." A greenish fluid began filling the pod. It felt viscous against Maya's skin, then seemed to seep directly into her pores. The burning sensation intensified until every nerve ending screamed. "The cellular reconfiguration has begun," Krill announced. "Your quantum state is now indeterminate." The pain reached heights Maya hadn't thought possible. It felt as though each atom of her body was being pulled in different directions simultaneously. "Is this normal?" she gasped. "Normal is irrelevant," Krill replied cheerfully. "Your experience is unique, as is every dance with mortality." Maya's vision blurred as the agony intensified. Through the green liquid, she could see Krill watching monitors with all 4 arms typing at different stations. "Fascinating reaction," he murmured. "Your cellular structure is fighting both the degradation and my treatment simultaneously." "That sounds bad," Maya managed through gritted teeth. "On the contrary, this defiance, it's exactly why humans intrigue me. Even your cells refuse to follow predictable patterns, hours blended into a haze of pain and brief moments of lucidity." Maya lost track of time, aware only of Krill's occasional updates and Dave's steady presence in her mind, calculating survival probabilities that she ordered him not to share. During one moment of clarity, she heard Krill exclaim with excitement, "The quantum resonance is stabilizing. Your cells are adopting the new pattern." "Does that mean it's working?" Maya's voice was barely a whisper now. "It means we've entered uncharted territory," Krill replied. "Your physical form is now theoretically capable of self-regeneration, but the process must be guided." He added almost casually, "This next stage will be particularly uncomfortable." Before Maya could respond, energy surged through the pod. Her scream echoed through the laboratory as every cell in her body seemed to ignite simultaneously. "Is this really necessary?" Dave demanded, broadcasting through the lab speakers. "Absolutely essential," Krill responded. "Adjusting controls. The quantum matrix must be shocked into the new configuration." Maya's back arched as another wave of agony washed over her. Through the pain, she started to laugh. "Something amuses you at this critical juncture?" Krill asked, genuinely curious. "Just thinking," Maya gasped between spasms. "The GA would need so many forms for this procedure." Krill's wind chime laugh joined her pain chuckles. "Documentation is the refuge of those who fear innovation." The treatment continued for another 7 hours, a brutal marathon of pain interspersed with moments of Krill's excited scientific observations and Maya's increasingly delirious jokes about her situation. "If this works," she mumbled during one of the final phases, "I'm going to send Dr. Zorix the most inappropriate thank you card in history." "Your humor persists despite cellular reconstruction," Krill noted with approval. A promising sign. As the final stage completed, the pod drained and opened. Maya lay still, every muscle trembling with exhaustion. The dark veins that had spread across her skin had faded to faint silver traces. "Did it work?" she whispered. Dr. Krill studied his monitors, all four hands moving rapidly. "The quantum degradation has been halted and partially reversed. Your cellular structure has accepted the new configuration." He tilted his head. "However, there appear to be unexpected adaptations." Maya struggled to sit up. "What does that mean?" "It means, Commander," Krill said with undisguised scientific excitement, "that you are no longer dying, but neither are you entirely the same as before." "Commander," Dave interjected, "I'm detecting unusual energy signatures emanating from your neural pathways." Maya finally managed to stand, surprised to find the pain significantly diminished. She felt different, as though her body had become both heavier and lighter simultaneously. "Whatever you did," she told Krill, steadying herself against the pod, "I think." The laboratory door suddenly exploded inward, sending fragments of metal flying across the room. Through the smoke strode the imposing figure of Commander Vrex, flanked by heavily armed GA enforcement officers. "Lieutenant Commander Maya Reeves," his voice boomed with cold authority, "you are in violation of 17 GA protocols, including theft of experimental compounds, unauthorized departure from a medical facility, and pursuit of illegal treatment options." Maya exchanged a glance with Dr. Krill, who looked more annoyed than alarmed by the interruption. "Perfect timing," she muttered. "Dave, I don't suppose you have an escape plan ready for this scenario?" "Calculating options now, Commander," the AI responded. "Though I should note that our statistical probability of successful escape is still better than 2%. Maya finished, squaring her shoulders to face Vrex. "And that's all I need. Her shuttle has breached the asteroid's outer defense perimeter." The tactical officer's voice carried across the GA enforcement vessel's bridge as Commander Vrex stood motionless, watching the small craft dart between mining platforms. "Fascinating," Vrex said, his metallic features arranged in what passed for contemplation among the Regulan species. "She continues to defy both medical prognosis and tactical probability." 3 weeks had passed since Maya's escape from Helios 9. What should have been a simple apprehension had turned into the most extensive pursuit operation in GA enforcement history, spanning 3 star systems and consuming resources that made the Budget Oversight Committee send increasingly alarmed communications. "Commander," his second officer approached with a data tablet, "Central Administration is requesting another status update. They are expressing concerns about resource allocation." Rex's amber eyes narrowed. "Tell them that probability calculations are clearly inadequate when applied to this particular human." On the view screen, Maya's shuttle executed an impossible turn between 2 massive haulers in the Vega mining lanes, causing one of Rex's pursuit ships to careen off course to avoid collision. "She's heading for the Cerulean Nebula," the tactical officer reported. "Sensors will be compromised if she reaches the ionized gas clouds." "Of course she is," Vrex murmured, "because it is both the least logical and most effective evasion route." He had spent 17 cycles as the GA's chief enforcement officer. In that time, he had apprehended 1,246 violators of health protocols across the galaxy. None had evaded him for longer than 2 standard days. None had consumed so many resources. And none had intrigued him so thoroughly. "All vessels maintain pursuit," he ordered. "And prepare the tractor beam array." Maya's voice suddenly came through the comms. She had hacked their frequency again. "I hope you're not charging taxpayers for all these ships, Commander. Seems like overkill for one dying human." Rex activated the response channel. "You are no longer dying, Lieutenant Commander Reeves. Dr. Krill's treatment appears to have been successful, which adds illegal genetic modification to your growing list of violations." A laugh came through the speakers. "You should try it sometime. Might loosen you up." Vrex ignored the taunt. "Your condition has stabilized sufficiently for you to stand trial for your crimes. Surrender now, and I will recommend leniency." "That's generous, but I'm a little busy proving your entire medical system wrong." On the view screen, her shuttle suddenly accelerated toward a narrow gap between 2 asteroid clusters, a passage too small for any sane pilot to attempt. "She wouldn't," whispered the tactical officer. Vrex watched as Maya's shuttle rolled sideways and somehow slipped through the gap that should have been physically impossible to navigate. "She did," he replied, unable to keep a note of reluctant admiration from his voice. "Recalculate pursuit course. We'll have to go around. That will add 7 hours to our intercept time. Then I suggest you inform the crew to prepare for an extended shift." Vrex turned away from the screen. "And download all available information on human psychological patterns. There must be some logic to her seemingly random decisions." In her shuttle, Maya collapsed back in the pilot's seat, breathing heavily. The silver traces along her arms were glowing faintly, an unusual side effect of Krill's treatment that intensified whenever she pushed herself physically. "That was unnecessarily dramatic," Dave commented. The gap was precisely 2.7 meters narrower than this vessel's wingspan. "Then how did we get through?" Maya asked, checking systems for damage. A pause. "Analysis inconclusive. Sensor logs show momentary spatial distortion around the shuttle's hull as we pass through the gap." Maya looked down at her glowing veins. "Another gift from Dr. Krill's treatment?" "Possibly. Your cellular structure appears to be developing properties inconsistent with standard physics. I've detected quantum fluctuations emanating from your neural pathways that correlate with moments of extreme stress or concentration." "You're saying I'm, what? Bending reality when I'm stressed?" "I lack sufficient data to form a conclusion. But the phenomenon has occurred 3 times during our escape from Helios 9, each time resulting in a statistically impossible maneuver." Maya grinned. "No wonder Vrex looks more confused every time we encounter him." "Commander Vrex has diverted additional resources to your apprehension. 7 enforcement vessels are now engaged in the pursuit, along with system-wide alerts at all legal ports." "He's persistent, I'll give him that." Maya studied the navigation display. "What's our status?" "Fuel reserves at 17%. Life support stable. Your medical condition uncertain but not currently deteriorating." The console beeped with an incoming transmission not from the pursuit vessels, but on an encrypted channel Maya recognized. "Is that?" Dr. Krill, Dave confirmed. "Transmitting from a new location." Maya activated the receiver. "Doctor, I'm a little busy at the moment." "Aiding the bureaucrats, yes. I've been monitoring." Krill's melodious voice filled the cabin. "Your case has become quite the sensation in certain scientific circles. The GIA is most distressed by your continued survival. Glad to be a statistical anomaly. But I could use some answers about these side effects." "Ah, yes, the quantum fluctuations. A most unexpected development. Your cellular structure has developed a unique relationship with probability itself. Right, unprecedented." Maya swerved the shuttle around a small moon, buying time as the GIA vessels recalculated their approach. "Can you be more specific? Your body appears to be generating localized probability fields. In moments of stress, you're essentially negotiating with reality. That doesn't sound scientifically possible. Neither does surviving quantum cellular degradation." Krill's wind chime laugh echoed through the speaker. "I've established a new laboratory on Proxima Vi. If you can reach it, I can help you stabilize these emerging abilities." The shuttle rocked as a warning shot from one of the pursuit vessels streaked past. "I think that's my cue to keep moving," Maya said. "Send the coordinates to Dave." "One more thing," Krill added. "Commander Vrex has submitted 17 requisition forms for additional resources to capture you. Most irregular for him to expend such effort on a single case. Maybe he's just thorough. Or perhaps he finds your defiance of probability as fascinating as I do. Regardless, I shall prepare my laboratory for your arrival, should you overcome the statistical improbability of escaping 7 enforcement vessels." The transmission ended as Maya directed the shuttle toward the nebula's dense clouds. Her veins pulsed with silver light as another warning shot rocked the small craft. "Dave, what's the probability of us reaching Proxima Vi without being captured?" "Based on current factors, approximately 0.34%. Maya's laugh filled the cabin. "Perfect. Those are the best odds I've had all month." For the next 36 hours, Maya led the GIA fleet on a chase that would later become legendary in enforcement training simulations. She navigated through radiation belts that should have fried her shuttle's systems, skimmed the atmosphere of a gas giant to use its gravity as a slingshot, and at one point appeared to vanish completely from sensors for 7 minutes only to reappear behind her pursuers. Each impossible maneuver corresponded with the silver tracings on her skin glowing more intensely. By the time she reached the Proxima system, only Vrex's command ship remained in pursuit, the others having either sustained damage or exhausted their fuel reserves. "He's still coming," Maya noted with grudging respect as she approached Proxima via a small, unremarkable moon orbiting a ringed gas giant. "Commander Vrex has not returned to his assigned station in 23 days, Dave informed her. "His pursuit exceeds all procedural guidelines. Maybe he needs a hobby." She winced as pain shot through her body, the first in several days. The silver lines flared brightly, then dimmed. "That's not good. Your condition appears to be destabilizing. Dr. Krill's treatment is losing effectiveness." A direct hit from Vrex's ship rocked the shuttle violently, sending warning lights flashing across the console. "Engines at 12% capacity," Dave reported. "Hull integrity compromised in 3 sections." Maya grimaced. "We're not going to make it to the surface, are we? Probability of successful landing now at 0.08%. The shuttle shuddered as the GIA vessel locked on with a tractor beam, slowly pulling them back. "Commander Reeves." Vrex's voice came through the comms. "Your remarkable evasion has concluded. Prepare for boarding." Maya felt another wave of pain as the silver traces pulsed erratically. Something was happening to her body, something not even Krill had anticipated. She placed her hand on the console, watching as the silver light seemed to flow from her veins into the shuttle systems. "What are you doing, Commander?" Dave asked. "I'm not sure," Maya admitted. "But I think I'm about to negotiate with reality again." Commander Vrex stood in the docking bay as the tractor beam slowly pulled in the battered human shuttle. Victory should have felt satisfying after such an unprecedented pursuit, yet he found himself strangely ambivalent. Lieutenant Commander Reeves had displayed ingenuity that defied all statistical models, a quality that his species, with their dedication to logical probability, that found simultaneously disturbing and compelling. "Boarding team ready, sir," his security chief reported. "Medical unit standing by for the prisoner's unstable condition." Vrex nodded. "Remind all personnel that she is to be taken alive. Her case has significant scientific value." The shuttle's hull showed extensive damage, burn marks from weapons fire, micrometeorite impacts, and stress fractures from maneuvers that should have torn it apart. As it settled onto the deck, Vrex noticed something unusual, a silvery luminescence pulsing through the ship's exterior, following patterns that resembled circuitry. "Sensors detect unusual energy signatures," the science officer reported. "Origin unknown." Vrex raised a hand, halting the boarding team. "Establish a containment field." Something is not the shuttle's hatch exploded outward with a burst of silver light. When the brightness faded, Lieutenant Commander Maya Reeves stood in the opening, but not as Vrex had last seen her. The silver traces that had been faint lines on her skin now formed an intricate lattice across her entire body, pulsing with energy that distorted the air around her. Her eyes glowed with the same silver light, and when she spoke, her voice carried a strange harmonic quality. "Sorry about the dramatic entrance," she said, stepping onto the deck. "Still getting the hang of this." The boarding team raised their weapons. Vrex signaled them to hold their fire. "What have you done to yourself, Commander Reeves?" he asked. Maya looked down at her glowing hands. "I think the technical term is evolved. Dr. Krill's treatment didn't just stop the quantum degradation, it changed how my cells interact with reality." She took another step forward, and the deck plating beneath her feet rippled as though reality itself was bending. The security team backed away involuntarily. "Fascinating," Vrex said, genuinely intrigued. "You've become a probability anomaly in physical form." "That's one way of putting it." Maya winced, the silver light flickering. "But it's not stable. I need to reach Dr. Krill's lab on the surface." "That is not possible. You have violated 17 GA regulations. The penalties will be meaningless if I destabilize completely." She gestured around them as the silver energy flared. Equipment throughout the bay began to malfunction. Gravity fluctuated, and for a brief moment Vrex could have sworn he saw multiple versions of Maya standing in the same space. "I don't think your ship is rated for quantum probability cascades." Vrex assessed the situation with the rapid calculation his species was known for. The regulations were clear, but the situation was unprecedented. No protocol existed for a human who could manipulate probability fields. "You leave me no choice," he finally said. "I will escort you to the surface myself." His security chief stepped forward. "Commander, that violates at least 23 procedural. Note your objection in the log," Vrex interrupted, "and repair my shuttle." 30 minutes later, Vrex's personal craft descended toward Dr. Krill's hidden laboratory, with Maya seated across from him in the passenger compartment. The silver energy had dimmed somewhat, but occasionally flared when the shuttle hit turbulence. "Why are you helping me?" Maya asked. Vrex studied her with unblinking amber eyes. "You have defied every statistical model the GIA has established. You should have accepted your diagnosis. You should have died. Instead, you have become something our science has never documented." He paused. "In 17 cycles of enforcement, I have never encountered a case file that I could not categorize. You are unique." "That almost sounds like respect, Commander." "It is scientific curiosity." The shuttle landed on a small pad adjacent to a structure built into the side of a cliff face. Dr. Krill was waiting, all 4 arms gesturing excitedly when he saw Maya's transformed state. "Extraordinary," he exclaimed as they disembarked. "The quantum integration has progressed far beyond my calculations." "It's killing me," Maya said, cutting through Dr. Krill's scientific enthusiasm. The silver traces on her skin flared painfully, and for a moment her form seemed to split into 3 overlapping versions before snapping back together. "I can feel reality fracturing around me." Dr. Krill sobered immediately. "Inside, quickly. My stabilization chamber is ready." Vrex followed them into the cliffside laboratory, his amber eyes scanning the array of equipment, much of it clearly operating outside GA regulations. The central chamber was a transparent tube filled with a luminescent blue fluid, surrounded by quantum field generators. "This should temporarily contain the probability disruptions," Dr. Krill explained as he adjusted settings on a control panel. "But I need to understand what's happening at a molecular level." Maya stepped toward the chamber, then suddenly doubled over in pain. The silver network across her skin pulsed violently, and several pieces of lab equipment spontaneously disassembled and reassembled in impossible configurations. "What's happening to her?" Vrex demanded. "Quantum tunneling on a biological scale," Dr. Krill replied, his 4 hands working frantically across multiple interfaces. "Her cells exist in multiple probability states simultaneously. In theory, fascinating. In practice, catastrophic." Maya finished through gritted teeth. "I can see possibilities, too many of them." She straightened suddenly, her eyes clearing. "But I can also control them. Not just see the probabilities, shape them." To demonstrate, she focused on a broken scanner on a nearby table. The silver energy extended from her fingertips, enveloping the device. Components that had been fused beyond repair separated, metal unbent, circuits reconnected, and within seconds the scanner hummed to life, completely restored. "Impossible," whispered Vrex. "No," Maya countered, "just highly improbable." "But I can make the improbable inevitable." Dr. Krill's analysis equipment beeped urgently. "The energy expenditure is accelerating your molecular destabilization. You must enter the chamber now." Maya nodded and stepped into the tube. As the blue fluid filled the chamber, the silver traces on her skin dimmed slightly. Dr. Krill studied the readings with all 4 eyes blinking in rapid succession. "Commander Vrex," he said without looking up, "what you're witnessing is beyond GA classification. Lieutenant Commander Reeves isn't just carrying quantum particles, she's becoming a conscious quantum field generator." "Can you reverse it?" Vrex asked. "Reverse?" Dr. Krill appeared shocked. "This is the next evolutionary step. With proper stabilization, she could rewrite the very laws of probability." Inside the chamber, Maya's eyes snapped open. Her voice came through the lab's communication system, distorted but clear. "Not evolution. Choice. I chose this path when I refused to accept a predetermined end." Her gaze fixed on Vrex. "Just as you're choosing now, Commander. Comes between regulation and discovery." Vrex stood straighter, his scaled features unreadable. The GA maintains order across 17 systems. Without protocols, your protocols didn't account for me, Maya interrupted. They can't account for everything. That's the point. Before Vrex could respond, alarms blared throughout the lab. Dr. Krill frantically checked his instruments. Multiple GA vessels entering orbit, he reported. Your security chief appears to have reported our location. Vrex's expression hardened. He followed protocol. And now they'll destroy this facility, Dr. Krill said, with all of us inside it. The first tremors shook the laboratory as orbital bombardment began targeting the cliff face above them. Rock dust filtered down from the ceiling. They're softening the target, Vrex explained clinically. Ground forces will follow. Inside the stabilization chamber, Maya closed her eyes. The silver network across her skin began to pulse rhythmically, growing stronger rather than dimmer. Get me out of this chamber. You're not stabilized, Dr. Krill protested. I don't need to be. Her voice carried that strange harmonic quality again. I need to be exactly what I am. Another explosion rocked the lab, closer this time. Equipment crashed to the floor, and a support beam cracked ominously. Dr. Krill hesitated only briefly before initiating the drain sequence. As the fluid receded, Maya's silvery glow intensified until it was painful to look at directly. When the chamber opened, she stepped out transformed once again. The silver traces no longer appeared as lines on her skin but seemed to exist in a layer just above reality itself, as though she was partially phased into another dimension. What are you going to do? Vrex asked. Change the probability of our survival from minimal to certain, she replied. But I need your help. Another explosion, and part of the ceiling collapsed. Through the gap, they could see GA assault shuttles descending. My help? Against my own people? Against a system that values rules over life, Maya countered. You said I was unique, Commander. Worth studying. Did you mean it? Vrex's inner eyelids flickered a sign of deep consideration among his species. Yes. Then help me reach the surface. Vrex led them through a maintenance tunnel as the bombardment continued. Dr. Krill followed, carrying a portable device that monitored Maya's quantum state. Her pattern is stabilizing, he reported incredulously. She's consciously controlling the quantum fluctuations now. They emerged onto a narrow ledge overlooking the valley where 5 GA enforcement vessels had landed. Troops were already deploying, weapons ready. What now? Vrex asked. Maya stepped to the edge, silver energy swirling around her. Now I rewrite probability. She raised her hands and the silver energy expanded outward in a rapidly growing sphere. As it touched the GA forces, their weapons jammed simultaneously. Communication systems failed. And most remarkably, the enforcement vessels themselves began to power down. I've calculated the exact probability pattern that causes their systems to fail, Maya explained. Technology operates on predictable outcomes. I'm simply adjusting those outcomes. Dr. Krill's monitoring device chimed. The effort is draining you quickly. I know, she said. But there's one more thing I need to do. The silver sphere contracted suddenly, condensing around Maya until she glowed like a small sun. Then it pulsed outward again in a wave that washed over everything: the GA forces, the laboratory, the surrounding landscape. Where it passed, a strange calm settled. What did you do? Vrex asked. I've created a probability bubble, she explained, her voice now steadier than it had been since her transformation began. Inside it, the most probable outcome is peaceful resolution. Outside interference is highly unlikely. As if to demonstrate, several GA officers began to approach, but their expressions showed confusion rather than hostility. Commander Vrex, the lead officer called. We're receiving strange orders from command. They want us to establish a research outpost here. And something about a joint human-GA quantum probability initiative? Vrex looked at Maya in astonishment. You altered communications across space? I altered what was probable, she corrected. In every possible future where they attacked, catastrophic consequences followed. I simply emphasized a different path. Dr. Krill's monitoring device beeped again. Your cellular structure is finally stabilizing. The quantum integration is complete. Maya nodded, the silver glow fading to a subtle shimmer that made her appear slightly unreal, a being straddling multiple states of existence. "What happens now?" Vrex asked. Maya looked out over the valley, where confused Ga forces were standing down, awaiting further instructions. "Now we explore the probability horizon together. There are endless possibilities out there, Commander." She turned to him with eyes that reflected not just silver light but countless potential futures. "And I can see every single one,"